So in this exercise, we are going to be reviewing some content aware tools, specifically the spot healing brush, the patch tool, and the content aware fill. And we'll mess around with some other tools too, like the object selection tool, the clone stamp tool, maybe a little bit, and then also just like, reviewing some things like the lasso tool. So the patch tool and the spot healing brush tool both are under quick key J, and to toggle to the different tools in that, you always hit shift. So shift J until I get to the spot healing brush tool, which looks like this right here, like a little band-aid with a little marquee behind it. So this spot healing brush tool, we're just going to start with this because this is great for cleaning up pieces of an image that are kind of out of place. So like on this donut, you have these little crumb things that kind of look like they're out of place here, maybe from another donut at the shoot, and it's kind of polluting this pink frosting we have in the background here. This tool is also great if you're working on portraits for like skin blemishes and things like that. And you can really even clean up like little areas that are of imperfections, like these bubbles, if you want to get really down to it. Now this is a tool that you'll be using anytime that you work on professional photography. Oftentimes you're retouching stuff in studios or internships, but this is a quick and easy way. So this is a destructive tool, so what I always like to do is make a copy of it, make a copy of the layer I'm working on. Right now this donuts layer is layer 1. I'm just going to hit command on that copy, then I'm going to start using this tool. Again, the quick key for that is J or Shift J to get to this tool here, which is the spot healing brush tool. And again, it looks like this little band-aid with a marquee around it. Now you're going to notice all I have to do, and with this tool selected, there's some kind of options up here, but I'm just leaving it on the default setting, which is normal, type, content aware. There's some other options that get a little more powerful control of things, but for now this is just a great easy tool without even changing out of these base default options. So I'm just going to click over this, and just almost like the same way I use a paintbrush tool, and you can see it just makes that disappear. And then I'm going to do the same thing and kind of just hit different spots, and again, you can see I'm really just clicking and dragging a little bit, and I can, any of these blemishes that are in here, these really just cleaning things up. And you can see no matter whether it's on a dark part or like a light part, it does a great job. And I've kind of been imperfect with actually like the areas that I'm affecting. So you can see, even though the brush kind of like was painted over these sprinkles here, it still eliminated that piece that was kind of in the middle without affecting it. So again, it's a really great tool. Again, I'm going to take this little bubble here, and it's next to this sprinkle here, but even though you can see the edge of my brush is coming over that sprinkle, it still kind of only affects that out of place crumb. So that is, in a nutshell, how easy it is. Again, I'll show you on this green donut, just some of these like imperfections, and they can be bigger or smaller, but it really does a great job at just kind of taking some of these things out. And you can do it with bigger pieces too if you want to get rid of like a whole sprinkle. So this is just a great easy tool to edit and kind of take out details that you want to take out. So that is pretty easy. The next thing I'm going to show you is actually one of the original kind of content aware tools is the clone stamp tool, and the quick key for that is S. Again, it looks like this. It looks like a little rubber stamp. And the way this tool works, now again, I'm on this layer that I'm doing destructive edits to this layer, but you can see when I hide it, the original layer is underneath, and you have all these other all the things that I removed. So going back to this, just to show you how this clone stamp tool works, you need to sample a point in the image, and you do that by holding down the option key, and you can see when I hold down the option key, it adds like a little crosshair to this. Now wherever that crosshair is, once I click, I'm just holding down option, so I have that crosshair, but I'm moving around. Once I click in a spot, that's where it's going to sample from. And then you can see when I move this around, because it sampled from this this sprinkle over here, I move that around and I click, and it just basically duplicates that. And it's sampled from that part originally, but as wide as I drag it, it will keep picking up other things that were like in that area. So if I, you can see where my mouse is over here on the left, but then you can see this kind of crosshair of everything it's sampling down to the lower right a little bit. And again, I'm just kind of doing this to show you like how it works, where you're, clicking, it's picking up that sample. This is a good tool if you're trying to, copy, little bits of an image, or especially if you have something like this where it has like sprinkles and you want to like maybe put like a different sprinkle in a different place, you can do that. Another thing you could do with it though is like, sample from an area like this where it's kind of, flat and doesn't have a lot of sprinkles. And then if I want to get rid of some, sprinkles or something like that, I can do that too. But there are other ways to do this, and I will go into that in the next tutorial. But basically, these two tools are pretty easy to use, especially the spot healing brush, and I will use them as we move on to clean up other things that are more complex. But you can see with a simple image where you're just trying to remove blemishes, and again, I'll go back to my my spot healing brush, and it works great for like even like this like crack that's happening, these little bubbles in the frosting. It's really great at cleaning up things. And again, like I mentioned, if you want to just get rid of like a whole sprinkle, you can do that. So again, this is a great tool for those kind of content aware edits. So I will continue on in the next tutorial.